Good evening. I am Vittal, President Rotary Club of Metropolis. I welcome all of you in India and abroad for the virtual meeting with Parama Pujya Swamiji. I heart welcome to Parama Pujya Swamiji, who has accepted our invitation to address us on the topic of attitude, the master key. Need of our thought-provoking advice from a person like Parama Pujya Swamiji. To say a few words about Rotary as a whole, is a 100-year-old friendship charitable organization. It connects world over 200 countries with 36,000 clubs and 1.2 million members. Has done human service to the mankind at large. Has spent more than $4 billion in life-changing projects. Significant contribution is eradication of polio. Today, 99.9% of world population is polio-free because of Rotary. To speak about our Rotary Metropolis, we have been undertaking charitable activities mainly in the fields of health and education. We have provided scholarship to the needy children, built classrooms wherever necessary, also providing training programs for spoken English covering mainly government-aided school children. At present in COVID-19, which has shaken the world, we have done our bit in providing relief materials to the hospitals, doctors, police personnel, sanitary workers, frontliners, everybody. We have also sponsored a film on doctors, nurses engaged in COVID-19, duly emphasizing their selfless sacrifice. We have undertaken to provide cancer treatment for 100 poor patients in collaboration with GEM Hospital. We have so far done five operations successfully. Our signature project is Hope After Fire. It is in collaboration with Ganga Hospital, providing rehabilitation to burn victims. About Hope After Fire, I request our own member, Dr. S. Rajasabhapati, Director Ganga Hospital, Chairman Department of Plastic Surgery, to make a presentation. Also introduce our esteemed speaker of the evening.
Thank you so much, President. And Namaste Swamiji. And good evening to all our friends. Swamiji, we are very blessed to have you this evening to address all of us. And every time we have some dignitary speak, we also introduce our Hope After Fire project. Swamiji, this has been a project which provides totally free reconstructive surgery to correct deformities caused by burns. And we started this project in 2012. And it has been a sustainable project, and it is also scaling greater heights. And every evening when we talk, we also saw one story where we have achieved and where we have made a great difference in the lives of people. Swamiji, this was a child who got burnt in a village when she was 7 years old, and both her hands got deformed, and her ears got crumbled, and her neck got deformed. One of the most tragedies that happen is when these children get injured, their education stops, and they are almost live a cripple because they are unable to go out of their homes. To correct this, it requires multiple procedures, and all these are done totally free of cost. And this is the same child. So this is her left hand. So after that, after the surgery, she is able to use her hands very well. That's the left hand. And there's the right elbow, which is totally plastered. Now she is able to straighten it and then bend it back. But the most important difference that we made was in her face, so that her neck was very different. And now she's able to wear the normal dresses that everybody wears. And the best thing that happened was now she went back to school. I think this is one of the projects now about which we are very proud about. We need your blessings, Swamiji, to take this project to greater heights. Swamiji, we have got more than such stories, and 500 of them we have. And not only we make a difference in the life of the individual who suffers, but also the family and the community in which they are living. So we justifiably feel by this project, our Rotary is also contributing to nation building. The journey so far, Swamiji, we have treated 543 patients, and this month we crossed over the project value of now over 5 crores, Swamiji. And hope with your blessings, and then we will grow to scale to greater heights. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely proud that today we have a great person to address us. And many of you might have heard him before, and including myself. And Swamiji is a mechanical engineer by education. And in 1992, he was, encountered as a sadhu by none other than by His Holiness, Great Paramvik Swamiji. And from then on, he has taken on a lot of humanitarian projects. And more than that, he has inspired a lot of people. And if you know that he has given more than 15,000 lectures and interacted with more than 3 million people in 30 countries. I think that's a great thing that to have. And then I should consider ourselves fortunate to have Param Puja Swamiji with us this evening. Thank you, Swamiji, for accepting our invitation. And then we request you to bless us and give a talk on our attitude, which will really build all of us up, and particularly which is needed at this time. Thank you, Swamiji, for coming. We wish you to talk to us, Swamiji. Thank you.
Namaskar and good evening, everybody.
Yes, operationally.
Shri Swami Narayan Bhagwan ki jai, Akshar Purushottam Maharaj ki jai, Radha Krishna Deva ki jai, Siyavar Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai, Pramukh Swami Maharaj ki jai, Mahant Swami Maharaj ki jai, Pramukh Swami Maharaj Shatabdi Mahotsav ki jai. With prostrations at the divine feet of Bhagavan Swami Narayan and my Guru Hari, Param Puja Mahant Swami Maharaj, my heartiest namaskar and good evening to all the Rotarians of Coimbatore Metropolis and the clubs who have joined. I'm very specially impressed with the presentation that you made at the start of the conference. Wonderful social work carried out by Coimbatore Rotary Metropolis, especially during the recent times of COVID-19, that I saw on the screen that you took care of the meals of doctors and the staff at ESI hospital, also providing free meals to about 500 people every day. This is a wonderful work carried out by you, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. More than that, the project that you presented, I'm so very much impressed by it, that taking care of the patients after they've got burned, and that is they've got burns, and making their life, trying to make their life a bit more better. And so far, you have put more than about 5 crore rupees in the project, and good philanthropic people coming forward to help you in this initiative. And this re-strengthens my faith that has been well prescribed in the scriptures, that for all the gentle humanitarian work that you want to do upon this earth, the flow of money never stops, and in some or the other person, God always inspires. And the good work that you do, the society definitely sees it and gets inspired to be with you in some way for this noble cause. So I appreciate all of you once again for this wonderful social work and strengthening the society fabric more and helping the nation being strong and more powerful, and giving hopes and scopes to the life of people who might have almost lost without your help. Now, coming to today's topic that I have been told about, attitude the master key. See, after at the end of the day, and after all that you think, what works most and what works best is your attitude towards your life, towards people, towards your work, and towards your faith. Because it has been definitely proved, it was a big topic of discussion in the 90s, and also during the turn of the millennium, that sometimes people with the best of resources, they fail, and sometimes with lesser resources, people succeed. I think all of us, we agree with this when I put forward this statement, isn't it? That sometimes with the best of resources, we don't succeed to the level that we want, or we fail as well. And sometimes with lesser of resources, we have been able to carry out well and work well, succeed well, and bring out better results. So deep thinking into this, what came into light was that at the end of the day, attitude matters the most. With lesser of resources, but the best of attitudes, you succeed. And with the best of resources, but lesser on attitudes, you may probably not succeed the way you want. So very good American author and thinker and a management guru and a psychologist as well, James Keller, he did 14 years of research on this. He must have read more than about 3,000 articles on this. He must have interacted with more than about 2,000, 2,500 people on this issue, interviewing them. And he comes up with a book. The title of the book is Attitude is Everything. The author is James Keller. It went on to become one of the best sellers on New York Times list. And it went on to bring a big fortune, a big destiny for James Keller as well. In this book, he very clearly mentions that with less or more on resources, what plays the most important role in the final outcome of what you do is your attitude, that is the way you see it, the way you perceive it, the way you take that into your life. That means attitude is your basic thinking process, plus the feelings pouring out of your heart regarding that, plus the way in which you execute, plus the way in which you include people in it. So the attitude towards work, towards people, towards your basic thought process definitely builds up the complete attitude of your life. So he writes this book, Attitude is Everything. And we can definitely see that happen in the society, in all walks of life. We can definitely see that happening in all the spheres of work as well. The biggest advantage that you have about attitude is that with the right kind of attitude, you can turn around any situation to your advantage. The first big advantage of attitude is that you can turn around any situation for your own benefit and for the larger benefit of the society. Many years back, I had read something in the Reader's Digest. Let's see how people with the right kind and positive and higher attitudes cannot that easily be bogged down by situations and happenings in and around them. At the turn of the millennium, we all knew that we had the Y2K problem in the computers. That is the year 2000 problem, popularly known as Y2K. Everybody had the issue in the year 1999 that how would computer take the last two zeros of the year, that is the year 2000. So just it happened, it's a story, but then it teaches us a lot that once God called three people in heaven, the three most powerful at that time upon this earth. First was Bill Clinton, the then President of the United States. The second was Colin Powell, the then Secretary of State. And third was Bill Gates, the then richest person upon this earth. And God said, you see, you three are the most powerful people upon this earth. And I've called you to tell you something which I want you people to go back to earth and tell it to the people of the world on my behalf. They said, fine. And God said that tomorrow I'm going to destroy the whole world. Now you can go back and tell this in your words to the people of the earth. All three were shocked. what to do, how to tell this to the people of the world. And we have just 24 hours before we perish. They were sent back on earth, and according to the protocol, it was the President of the United States, Bill Clinton, on primetime American TV. And he said, see, ladies and gentlemen, there is some good news and some bad news. The good news is that there is heaven, there is God, and the bad news that is going to destroy the world tomorrow. And he went off the camera. The second, according to the protocol, was Colin Powell, the then Secretary of State, the second most important diplomat in the American political system. He comes forward in front of the camera and says, ladies and gentlemen, there is some bad news and some good news. Now, what did Bill Clinton say? There is some good news and some bad news. And what did Colin Powell say? There is some bad news and some good news. The bad news is that, oh my God, he exists. Because he knew internally what he was doing in Iraq at that time. And he said that the good news is that America is finishing off Iraq tomorrow. See how you can change the same information or the same set of things to your advantage. This is attitude. And now it was the turn of Bill Gates, perhaps the most shrewd businessman the planet has ever seen. So he faces the camera and he goes, there is some good news and there is some more good news. Again, I repeat, he says, there is some good news and some more good news. Nothing like bad. And he says, the good news is that I was chosen among the top 3 in the population of 5.5 to 6 billion by God himself. So I'm among the top 3 in the world. That's the good news. And the more good news is that Microsoft is solving the Y2K problem tomorrow. So what I mean to say is that by the right kind of attitude, you can turn around the happening or a situation or a thought process to your advantage. This is the first big advantage of attitude. That by attitude, the right kind of attitude, and by a high attitude, you can turn around a situation for your advantage. Second important advantage of attitude is that when you keep the right kind of attitude, when you keep a positive attitude in your mind, it reflects in your actions in a way that certain talents, certain genius, certain extraordinary qualities, certain values and virtues that are deep rooted in you, but are in a hidden form, they can come out. They get a chance to come out, and it can give you a very big advantage in your life. So this is a big advantage of attitude, that it can bring out the latent talents from you. You might all have the memories of the 1983 Prudential World Cup played in England. We, India, won the World Cup. This was for the first time that we won a cricket World Cup, and rather such a big international tournament. So the Indian team was jubilant. They won against a powerful West Indies team, which had won the 1975 World Cup, the 1979 World Cup, and they were the finalists against us in the 1983 World Cup. But what was the principal reason, as found out by analysts later, the cause of West Indies' defeat? In the 70s and in the 80s, they were the most powerful team reigning the world. And they had won the 1975, the 1979 World Cup quite convincingly. So they were in a overboard attitude, a superiority complex, because against them were the Indians. And against them were the Indians. So like they always felt that they are a weaker team, and before that, never again in India they would ever send their powerful A team. Whenever the West Indies stood India, they always sent their B team. So they always felt that India was not that competitive against them. So they always wanted to play a game like they were playing in their backyard. So
I think we have a bit of internet issues from Swamiji. He'll be back online in a moment.
Am I now audible? Am I now audible?
Yes, Swamiji, you're audible. Please go ahead. Yes.
So they always felt that they were playing in their backyard. So what happened is they were in a superiority complex. India were bowled out for 183. They batted second. But they were in too much of overconfidence, the wrong attitude. And they lost the game. They were all out for 139. Now, Indians were the world champions. They always felt, that is, the West Indies felt that an inferior team has just rolled over them. So immediately the West Indies Cricket Board, they contacted BCCI and they wanted a full-fledged series, that is 6 tests and 6 one-day internationals. So the all-powerful team of the West Indies, they came to India. Gordon Greenwich, Desmond Haynes, Vivian Richards, Richie Richardson, Clive Lloyd, wicketkeeper Jeff Dujon, Michael Holding, Joel Garner, Colin Croft, and Andy Roberts. This is considered to be the most powerful of all cricket teams ever. And they kept an attitude that we don't want any all-rounders, 6 specialized batsmen, 1 wicket-keeper, and 4 specialized pace bowlers. We don't want even a spin bowler in the West Indies team. This was the attitude of Clive Lloyd, the captain in the 70s and 80s. And with that attitude and that combination, they ruled the cricket world for 20 years. So the batsmen in the opposing team should not have any relaxation of a slow delivery. All deliveries, all the 90 overs of the day in a test match should be bowled at 90 plus miles per hour. That could be a harassment for the opposition batsmen. So this was the attitude kept, and they kept on winning. Now what happens that after the World Cup loss, a humiliating defeat, the West Indies sends its the most powerful team to India. They played the 6-1 internationals and they defeated India in all the 6-1 internationals. So all the press all over India, they started commenting negatively about the Indian team, that how could this happen to the world champions. So the World Cup win in England just a month back was by fluke. And see what has happened to the Indian team after just 1 month winning the World Cup, that we are miserably losing against the same West Indies team. So out of them, about 3 one-day internationals were won by the West Indies with a margin of more than 150 runs. So now thereafter the first test match at Kanpur, and India lost by innings and more than 250 runs, and in just 3.5 days the whole test match was over. And all the 10 into 2, 20 batsmen, that is 2 innings played by India, none of the batsmen had scored a boundary against Malcolm Marshall, the opening pace bowler of the West Indies. So a lot of criticism by the Indian press, but then they tried to pursue the Indian team to go for some counselling. BCCI also decided this, and the counselling of the Indian cricket team started. First of all, it was Sunil Gavaskar, the opening batsman, who was counselled for this, and he was particularly told that if Malcolm Marshall is a world-class bowler, you are also a world-class batsman. You only need to change your attitude. See, here comes our topic, attitude is everything, and attitude is the master key. Sunil Gavaskar was told to change his attitude from defense to attack. Basically, he was a defensive batsman. He was a test batsman and not a one-day international batsman. because in 1975 World Cup, in a match at that time played for 60 overs, Gavaskar carried his bat along from the first ball of the first over to the last ball of the 60th over and was 36 runs not out. So basically he was a defensive test batsman. He was never an international attacking batsman. But then the counsellors told him that to keep up the morale of the Indian team, you need to attack Marshall from ball one. And if you can break the high morale of Malcolm Marshall and the West Indian pace battery, down the line the other batsmen would feel it quite comfortable to face these people. So Gavaskar's attitude was changed from being defensive to being attacking from day one, which was never his way of playing. But then he accepted it, he decided, he made up his mind and walked into the second test at the Feroz Shah Kotla Stadium in Delhi. Now the stadium is called the Arun Jaitley Stadium. West Indies won the toss, sent West India into bat, and all of us, this was in 1983, all of us were expecting that India would be like more 110 for 7, something like that before lunch. But then Gavaskar started attacking Marshall from ball one. He sent Marshall through the ropes on the very first ball and hit 4 fours in the first over. So 4 fours hit by Gavaskar in a test match in the very first over of the match, and that too against Malcolm Marshall, was a sight, was a very pleasant sight for all the cricket lovers at that time. And still I remember Malcolm Marshall with his hands on his waist, staring at Sunil Gavaskar standing on the middle of the pitch, because basically both of them were friends playing for the same county, that is Somerset in England, during the county matches. So, and Gavaskar smiling at Malcolm Marshall, and Marshall telling him, dude, it is your day today. And years later, Malcolm Marshall would write in his autobiography, remembering this incident and this test match in particular, that paying a tribute to Sunil Gavaskar, that said it's easy to steal the Taj Mahal from India than to get an LBW decision against Gavaskar, beating his straight bat. Of course, India lost 3 test matches out of that 6, but India could save the other 3 test matches, especially because of that changed attitude of Sunil Gavaskar in the test match batting, to the extent that in the 6th test, on the 5th and the final day at Chidambaram Chepauk in Chennai, Gavaskar played the whole day and batted beautifully to score a wonderful double century, 236 not out. I still remember that score. What I mean to say is that keeping the right kind of attitude can bring out many latent talents, many virtues and values that are hidden in you, which normally don't come out in day-to-day normal happenings and circumstances. But when the situation gets tough, what we normally say is that the tough gets going. So how do the tough get going during tough situations? Is that by changed positive attitude towards the situation. So the second story I told you is that attitude can bring out the latent talents within you if you keep that attitude positive. The third important aspect of attitude is that if you always keep a negative attitude, if you always keep a low attitude, even with the best of circumstances, the best of situations, the best of the help available around, the best of the infrastructure, the best of the system, still you are not productive. This is the other negative side of attitude. Just a story, like many years back, there was an international conference of all the transport ministers of different countries. And in the ongoing conference, maybe for 3-4 days, every transport minister got a chance to present the prevailing problems regarding traffic in their own countries and the best of solutions that they have tried to find out, and applied a few of them and tried to get results. So everybody had got a chance to present themselves. At that time, the transport minister of Italy, he said that, see, in Italy, we have in all the cities and towns, traffic lights, everything that we have, the red, green and the amber. But in Rome, people have an attitude that these traffic lights are instructions. So they follow it and follow very obediently. But in the second rung town, that is Naples in Italy, people feel and have an attitude that these are suggestions. You may or may not follow, choice is yours. So because of that attitude of people towards traffic lights, they don't follow it so obediently like the people of Rome. And in the mafia city, that is Sicily. Sicily is a mafia city in the country of Italy. That in the mafia city Sicily, people keep an attitude that this traffic lights are Christmas decorations. The red, the green and the amber happening. So they are like Christmas decorations. So they just enjoy it and go past it, whatever is the color of the light. So in Rome, people have the attitude of instructions. In Naples, the people have the attitude of suggestions. And in Sicily, the people have an attitude of Christmas lights. So we have not many traffic issues in Sicily, less than that in Naples, and almost none of them in Rome. So see, they had the best infrastructure, they had the best system and the best help, but still your attitude works. People having positive attitudes, they could take the advantage of the infrastructure in the system. People having negative attitudes, they can't take the advantage of the situations and happenings and the systems. So attitude is the master key to success in life. Another big type of attitude, that come what may, I will not fall down, is a big attitude. We have seen this attitude in our Guruji, Param Pujya Pramukh Swami Maharaj. The organization that I come from, the BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha, is one of the largest organizations in the world. As President Vatsal, he introduced Rotary Club well and said that there are about 36,000 clubs all over the world. We also have about 10,000 plus centers all over the world. We do about 162 different kinds of social, cultural, moral, educational, environmental, medical activities. You might have visited Swaminarayan Akshardham at New Delhi or heard about it, or at Gandhinagar as well. We have such 1,200 small and big campuses all over the world. We run more than about 70 units of hospitals, hostels, schools and colleges. And glad to share with all of you today that just today morning, we had the Gujarat State Board Standard 10th results. And a BAPS schoolboy and a hostel boy from the town of Gondal, near to a big city, Rajkot, in Gujarat, by the name Rishi Patel. He is the topper and he stood at #1 rank in the board exams of Standard 10th today. So that is a BAPS pride today. But what I mean to say is that these saints, we personally take care of all our institutes, and we are directly involved in the administration, the management of this, along with our spiritual sadhana that we do. But Pramukh Swami Maharaj was the principal reason and instrumental in carrying out all these activities of BAPS to the international level and making BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha having a permanent seat. We have a permanent seat in the United Nations as an NGO. And the Akshardham that you have seen in Delhi, we are coming up with a more bigger campus on 265 acres of land at New Jersey in America, that is at Robbinsville, which we intend to inaugurate in 2022. Such Akshardham like huge campuses are coming up at Johannesburg in South Africa, at Sydney in Australia. And recently, about 8-10 months back, you might have heard in the news or read in the newspapers that the Sheikh of Abu Dhabi, His Royal Highness Sheikh Zayed, gifted 27 acres of land to us, the BAPS organization, on Sheikh Zayed Express Highway from Dubai to Abu Dhabi to come up with an Akshardham-like campus. We have already started the construction work there. The foundation work is over. In the next 3 years, by 2023, we'll come up with the beautiful presence of Swami and Akshardham on Dubai Abu Dhabi Express Highway. What I mean to say is that Pramukh Swami Maharaj created such a huge organization. I just want to put a small statistical figure in front of you that in a span of 45 years as Guru, he created such 1300 institutes, hospitals, hostels, schools, colleges, Akshardhams, Sanskardhams and Mandirs. If you break down that to understand the grandeur of his attitude and working aptitude, that 1300 campuses in 45 years, let us take a round figure that every year he came up with 25 campuses. So every second week, every 15th day, he came up with a campus, an institute, a service institute for the society. Now listen to this statement of mine very carefully. That means every 15th day, Pramukh Swami Maharaj, he purchased the land, all the legalities and formalities of that clearance of that land from the local government bodies done. What type of project to be done there for the help of the local community, that is social, medical project, environmental project, educational project, that decided upon by the team of trustees. Architecture designs the plans for the building, plans passed in the local government bodies, tenders floated, tenders accepted, funds gathered, groundbreaking ceremony performed, construction completed, right kind of people to give honorary services for such a huge project selected upon, inauguration ceremony performed, and the institute gifted to the society for the social work. This happening that I described happened in the life of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, the creator of Akshardham, every 15th day for 45 years. Imagine, every 15th day for 45 years. And this COVID-19 also, we distributed more than about 20,000 PPEs. We distributed more than, that is still it's going on, more than 5 million, that is 50 lakh meals. We dished out more than about 250 tons of fresh vegetables. And we have opened up our own hospitals for COVID-19 patients. And just happy to serve. In other way, the news are not good, but when it comes to service, that just yesterday we got our first patient of COVID-19 at our own hospital here in Vadodara, at BAPS Baroda. It's a 100-bed multi-speciality hospital. And 9 more, that is totally 10 patients so far admitted in just about last 48 hours. So we are at the service of the society in such times, but all this is the creation of Pramukh Swami Maharaj. He had this attitude. What I basically want to tell you is the attitudes of Pramukh Swami Maharaj that we all need to learn. His first attitude towards work was that he used to say that if at all you feel that I would do this work after 2 seconds, then that is your procrastination. Pramukh Swami Maharaj started his career as a guru at the age of 51, and in the 45 years after that, till his age of 95, he just passed away about like 4 years back. Pramukh Swami Maharaj traveled to 18,000 villages, towns and cities in 60 countries of the world and personally visited more than 3.5 lakh homes. So much interaction with people. He created such a huge organization. He read and answered more than 7.5 lakh letters in his lifetime at an unbelievable average of reading and answering more than 70 letters a day without a Sunday for 45 years. Imagine if you tomorrow morning open up your office mailbox at 10 AM in the office and you find 20 mails to answer before lunchtime, then what happens to you? He did this. So he had this attitude towards work and time management that He never wasted a single second. He once had an appointment with a dentist and he started from the BAPS Mandir at Dadar in Mumbai. He sat in the car and started reading letters till he reached the clinic of Dr. Dixit for his dental appointment. There he waited in the reception room for about 2-7 minutes. There also he kept on reading his letters. While walking from the reception room to the patient's chair in the dentist clinic, he still kept on reading the letters. Then he gave his letter to his attendant back. A couple of x-rays performed. The doctor said we need to take another a couple of 2 or 3 x-rays. He said, okay. While the dentist was arranging the apparatus, again he demanded letters and read 2 letters in between. We have found that at the age of 75 and 78, he could read 20 to 25 incoming letters at one go, and then he could write the answers of all that 20-25 in a row. The attendant saint has just to remind him that, for example, Swami, that Mr. Akshar Patel from Nadiyad, and immediately what he had written in his letter, the issue of the problem, personal, family, social that he had, that would come in his mind, and he would start answering the letter. So he could read 20-25 letters at one go and write 20-25 answers at one go in a sequence. So if you keep this kind of attitude towards your work, God has blessed each and every human being with this scale of energy, with this scale of intellect. It is because that we have not developed positive and higher attitudes towards our work that we have not been able to invoke that kind of energy from within us. Second kind of attitude that Pramukh Swami Maharaj kept with people. Once Pramukh Swami Maharaj was meeting people, I would tell that Pramukh Swami Maharaj gave personal audience, personal ear, that is, he used to hear people's issues and bless them and guide them. More than 2 million people in his lifetime, he personally met. So when he was personally meeting one Mr. Gurumukh Sajanmal Sainani, a leading physician from Mumbai hospital, he was in the queue to meet Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and he was observing the way in which Pramukh Swami Maharaj is to meet people. And when he met Pramukh Swami Maharaj, had a formal discussion with him, and after that he said that we physicians, we have 6 senses. Each and every existence upon this earth, they have 5 senses. जो हम बोलते हैं ना, शब्द, स्पर्श, रूप, रस and गंध. We physicians, we have 6 senses. The 6th sense is that we can understand the emotions of people. We can understand the feelings of people behind their actions. But he said that even my 6th sense could not pick up the love, the compassion and the pity with which Pramukh Swami Maharaj meets people. And we are 1100 saints initiated by him. More than 75% of them are graduates, postgraduates, either chartered accountants, doctors, engineers. But we all have come close to him because of his pure selfless love for us, his profound devotion towards God, his revealing of eternal truth of life from the scriptures to us, and his selfless zeal to serve society. It is said in the scriptures that a saint can love like 1,000 mothers. We all 1100 saints, when we left our family, we left this, that is, we renunciated the world. Today we have experienced that profound love of 1,000 mothers in our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and today in our present Guru Mahan Swami Maharaj. So see your attitude towards people. First attitude towards people is meet people with all love, compassion and pity. By compassion and pity I mean that whoever you meet, you must keep an attitude. How can I make him happy? How can I leave this meeting that he leaves me with a feeling that I've met a gentle, loving person today? How and in which way, if at all, the other person demands, I can help him within my limits, within my resources. But the attitude of love for people, the attitude of help to people should be your attitude when you meet people. And by this, you will win over people. We don't do it professionally, commercially to win over people, but this should come from our basic heart. That this is a 70 or 80-year game. Basically, human life is a 70 or 80-year game. What best I can do during my existence upon this earth? for the good of society and for my own spiritual elevation, for the salvation of my own soul. If you keep both this kind of attitudes, you will be a gentle, humble, loving, compassionate, and a spiritual personality that people would like to get associated with you. And where more people get associated with you, your mission will be more successful. Basically, for success, you need more and better people in your mission, isn't it? The more people you have joining your mission, the better people you have people joining you, the better you can work, the better is the success of your mission. Pramukh Swami Maharaj could get the best young talents into sainthood, into saffron, because of his attitude towards people of love, compassion, pity, and always, how can I help them to make their lives better? So this should be the attitude, even with your family members, even with the people around you. Another good attitude towards people is that once Pramukh Swami Maharaj was in Belgium in the year 1984, he was at Dr. Shah's residence. And at that time, Dr. Shah said that, Swamiji, see, what happens that when we meet people or discuss things with people in the meeting, or we have some association with people regarding business or any other relationships, we always try to find faults in them, and any negativity of them, it immediately strikes us, and we keep that negativity of his in our mind, and we always look at him whenever we meet him again through that aspects of negativity. But I have found that you meet n number of people with the same smile, and I've also seen that, because I knew a few people who have made some big mistakes, who have confessed to you, and even then when you meet them with all love and compassion. I could see it from your eyes and your facial expressions, your smile and your body language. How can you do this? That when you know the negatives of people, still you can get associated with them? Pramukh Swami Maharaj at that time said, see, he told Dr. Shah, that see, there could be 99 faults in a person, but there can always be one good virtue in a person. If at all you have to associate with that person, if at all that person is part of your own life, if at all he is your business associate, a working colleague, or your family member, see, there are negatives and there are bad habits, there are some negative values in people, but still when you know that you need to be with that person is now a part of your life, then if you constantly keep on looking towards the negatives of that person, you won't enjoy your association with them. Now, since that person is a part of your life, and you know that for long years or till the end of your life, perhaps, if that person is going to be in your life, then you have to forget all the negatives of that person. Just keep your eye and your focus on the positives of that person. Only then you will enjoy your association. Otherwise, you will cry and weep every time you meet him, internally. So these are the three kinds of attitudes that you need with people, because well said in management that you take care of your people will take care of you. You take care of your people and your people will take care of your work. As simple as that. So our attitude towards work and your attitude towards people decides your personality and character. The right kind of attitudes, the higher attitudes towards work and people, you become a more acceptable personality in this society. And lastly, I would say that your attitudes towards faith, towards scriptures, towards saints, towards shrines, that is temples, mandirs, and towards God. Always keep an attitude that God exists. Always keep the attitude that God is the all-doer. See, there are millions of people who are atheists. There are millions of people who are believers. Discussions between the two has been since ages and will go on through ages. But my simple put forward is that, now listen very carefully. My simple put forward regarding this is this, which our Guru Pramukh Swami Maharaj often used to say, that in the worldly things, you first see and then believe. But in the heavenly things, you first believe and then see. See, the procedure is different. See, you chose your spouse years back, decades back, or a simple association or a simple exchange of few conversations and a simple exchange of likes and dislikes maximum. But then while you were performing your marriage ceremony, at that time, if the doubts start raising within you that whether we will be able to go along or not, whether we'll be able to go along or not, well, what was going to happen after 5, 7, 10 years, nobody knows. But then you kept a faith that no, fine, some basics have been cleared, now the way forward will be full of light. Second example, like you always keep faith. Like see, if you sit in the car and you just start your car, the headlights will go for only 10-15 feet. If you say that I don't see my house from here and there is all dark after 15 feet, how would I go there? I can't start my car. See, we all know that as we move the car ahead, that's as we start driving, the lights of the headlights, that is, they also move forward and you can reach your home. So as you move ahead, the lights also move ahead and make you see things in a proper perspective. This is faith. So keep faith that God exists. He is the all-doer. Just a casual one in between. I just about a couple, maybe a week back, I got a WhatsApp from one of my friends. Let's see, coronavirus in a spike of egoistic attitude tells God, see, I am so small, invisible, and also invincible as well, that I have closed down and shut down all your mandirs all over the world, places of worship and places of prayer. I am so invisible and so invincible, but I have done this, being such a small existence. See my power. God laughed at the virus and said, see, you closed down all the mandirs. It was my wish because I wanted a place of worship to be opened in each and every house. So God is the all-doer. More people have regained their faith, refurbished their faith in God in this COVID-19 crisis, because we all know till date when we are talking and having this webinar today, we don't have a medicine, we don't have an antidote, we don't have a vaccine. Good news are coming in from different quarters. Yesterday, the BBC radio announced about the Oxford vaccine and AstraZeneca, leading drug manufacturer in England, may start mass production of it in India and Switzerland at their outlets, at their manufacturing units. But then till it reaches the common man in the society, it will take still a few months. So we all know that COVID-19 has taught us an attitude that we need God for our survival and nothing else. So definitely that God, we need God. So certain COVID-19 attitudes that we have learned is, first, family is the primary and the principal source of happiness. This is a COVID-19 positive attitude that we have learned sitting back home. Second is, health is our greatest wealth. Third is, life is uncertain and short. So do what you love and love what you do. Fourth, any type of work or jobs that you do are temporary. Nothing is permanent. Everything is transitory. And fifth, as I said, you need God for your survival. These are all the attitudes, positively if you see, we have learned from COVID-19. We definitely pray that the pandemic subsides and we come to our healthy, normal self, and the society comes back to healthy, normal state that we had before COVID-19 as soon as possible. But then now we have to learn to live with it. That God is the all-doer. Whatever He does good for us. And small association through prayers or chanting the holy name of God gives us strength, gives us willpower, gives us confidence, keeps our attitudes high, gives us a buffer capacity to absorb shocks of life, and also gives us a good immunity. All this is scientifically proved, clinically, experimentally proved. So these are some attitudes towards work, towards life, towards faith, and these attitudes, as I said. So finally summarizing in 3 lines, attitude, it that is a positive attitude, has the power to turn around any negative happening or situation in your life towards your advantage. Second, attitude, that is a positive attitude, can bring out many latent talents and values and virtues from within you which were hidden up till now. Third, a positive attitude can give you a lifestyle, can give you certain values and virtues in life that can help you to become a more better, acceptable personality and a spiritual character, that you become an asset for the society. So my many prayers for all of you. Thank you very much for inviting me to your Rotary Metropolis Coimbatore Club in association with other clubs. And a wonderful topic selected by you, that attitude is the master key. And my innermost prayers for all of you, your families and friends, that they remain very safe and healthy in these times of COVID pandemic. And may you as a club can still carry on your wonderful social work to help the needy in such times. May God give you all the strength. May God send all good people with all some good resources, from time to physical help to good donations for your wonderful projects in future as well. Thank you very much, and all prayers for all of you.
Good evening, Param Pujya Swami Gyan Vatsal ji. Thank you so much for your talk today. It is our good fortune and privilege to have you address our Rotary fraternity as well as members of the public who have joined in large numbers to listen to you. First of all, thank you so much for your crisp comments of appreciation on the various social projects we have undertaken. The way you grasped and understood and summarized the various things that we did in the matter of few seconds was amazing to see. At this moment, I would also like to recollect your insightful thoughts on the Rotary four-way test a couple of years back, Swamiji, as well as your address to our members at the Chamber of Commerce, Coimbatore. It was Rotarian Hemant Shah who was instrumental in bringing you on all three occasions, including.
Let me interrupt. Sorry for that, but I have my special thanks to Rotarian Hemant Shah of Girnar T. He is very closely associated with BAPS Swaminarayan Sanstha. As he is a Rotarian with you, he is a BAPS comrade and a BAPS volunteer with us also. I thank him. Please.
Wonderful, wonderful, Swamiji. I'm sure Hemant is listening and will be thrilled to receive these words of appreciation from you. So attitude determines your altitude, they say. But you have brought new perspectives and dimensions to this important trait for success. The examples that you gave of how a positive attitude can completely change the context of a situation or instill confidence opened our eyes on why the attitude is so important. Whether it is politics, business, or sports, you've shown today through your examples that attitude plays the most important role in success. I think today, more than any other time in the world, attitude matters if we have to triumph as humanity against this disease called COVID. And while on the topic of COVID, it was amazing to hear of the scale and quantum of your social outreach efforts, especially during COVID. Again, the positive world-changing attitude of holiness was a spark for such a massive movement. I have a few takeaways from your discourse, and I'm sure all of us have had a rich experience listening to you, but the takeaways that I had were focus on the positive. Life is uncertain, do the right thing always and whenever possible. Look at the good rather than the bad. The right attitude brings about the most profound of changes, even what you would consider impossible. And last but not the least, the right attitude with faith, love, compassion and empathy is a key to creating massive change, as you so eloquently told us about how the BAPS organization has done change and brought joy to so many people worldwide. In conclusion, I also wanted to share a few thoughts on the origin of the word attitude. It actually comes from the Italian word for posture, and it means how you carry yourself, how you hold your whole being, and how you approach the entire world. This is what you have brought out so beautifully during a captivating talk. You made us realize yet again on why you are such a sought after speaker the world over. As always, I would like to thank our President Vittal, our Secretary Rajan, and our Club Admin Bharat for all their help and support. Once again, I would like to thank Rotarian Hemant Shah for the role he played in bringing Your Holiness to address us. Thank you so much once again, Swamiji. We are indeed blessed to have listened to you.
Thank you
I will
very
now
much.
hand over to President Vittal for his concluding remarks. Over to you, President Vittal.
Thank you, Prashant. Thank you very much, Swamiji. It was wonderful hearing
My pleasure.
at this stage. To add to Prashant what he has said, I really, when you said God is everything, that is true. I think everything is His made, and it may be for good. And also, what I was so impressed said when you said, "Come what may, I will not fail." If that is the positive attitude one has, we can conquer anything and find good things in this hour of COVID also and move on. You also pointed out what are all the positive things in this COVID. We cherish every bit of whatever you have said. Thank you very much, Swamiji. Hope to see you again and get your blessings once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and all prayers for you. All prayers for all of you.
The meeting is adjourned.